Hello everybody, welcome to the Sound Test Room. Today we are taking a look at the FabFilter Pro-R 2. So the second version of the Pro-R, so Pro-R 2. So this adds a load of new features. Obviously it sounds incredible. So I'm going to give you a deep dive into this. I'm going to start with this on piano tech, just with a basic piano, so you can, hear how clean acoustic sounds. And I'm going to do some real creative stuff. So just to show you the bonkers power of this, and then some brilliant stuff you can do with impulse response. It's so clever, this is. Right, okay, so basic default patch here. You just go in here and you choose basic. And it sets it 2.5 seconds. The decay time for the percentage increase for this is set at 0. And I'm just going to hit a chord. And that's your basic thing. Now you have a decay rate EQ here, and then a post EQ. I'll get to those in a moment. Pre-delay. So if I whack the pre-delay right up here. Okay, but you can also tap on this little lock icon and you can set it to say 16 notes for the pre-delay. And that's an offset. So for example, if we do something shorter, like maybe a quarter note. Okay, let's turn pre-delay off for a moment. I'll set it back to 3. Then we have character. This adds modulation. So I'm going to increase the size to 10 seconds. And then this little button here, this little slider here that says percentage on it, this is a plus or minus percentage. It goes up in 10% increments. So look, we can go up. Well, it goes up in just 1%, but look, we're at 178. And now we're at 400%, which is giving us 40 seconds. And then if we double tap to reset, that'll go back down to 10. And then, of course, we can go the other way and it'll just go back down to 2.5 seconds. Okay, so let's tap that to reset and set it about here. Around the edge of this dial is just different kind of preset points, if you like. So we'll just set it there. Okay. Now, character, like I was saying, this adds like modulation. So it's kind of like adding a chorus to the actual sound. And then let's listen to what the thickness does when the character is all the way up. So it's kind of smearing the modulation. And if we take that off, reset this and reset this down to about there and have a listen to what it can do. Let's turn the mix up. So you get a better idea of what it does when there's a lot of mix in there. Let's just reset this. Actually, we'll give it a little bit more than that. And we'll double tap to reset. Then you have distance, which will bring the object closer or further away. So this is like diffusion. So closer. And then further away. Let's reset that to there. Now we have brightness. This is kind of obvious. I'll set the mix higher here. Just move this up a little bit. And then I'll increase the brightness. just put a bit of EQ on the top end. And if we make it darker, this is really nice actually. That's really lovely, that is. Let's just reset that to there. Width is kind of, as you would expect, it adds a stereo width to the actual reverb. So again, if we whack the tail right up, and I'll play this with no width, it's all mono, the tail. And if we take the width full up, you'll hear that reverb spread out. And the default setting is around 70%, which is nice. Now we'll look. Yeah, let's look at ducking now. So we've got lots of reverb here, and if I'm just playing away, every note that I play gets washed in reverb. Okay, if we bring in ducking now, if we bring it up full is a bit too much, but what will happen is you'll hear every single note, and when I stop playing, the reverb will kind of blend back in, but it's very abrupt on like 100%. So you get this effect. So okay, so nice if you sustain a note, but if I all of a sudden stop a note, the reverb comes in. So you can set this at really the perfect amount. So you can still hear all those notes. And then the reverb will come in after those notes are finished, which is a good way to keep your reverb clean, subtle amounts, but the fact is you can dial it in as well in decibels. However much of the ducking you like. Mix is kind of self-explanatory, no mix at all. And then 100%, there'll be no dry. 30% is the default. Above the mix button, we have the freeze button. So again, loads of brightness, loads of decay. In fact, we can whack this up a little bit, I reckon. Let's put the mix up a bit. I'll bash a note and then hit freeze. And now that reverb is frozen forever as it is. And I can play, obviously, over the top of that. And we can make adjustments to the post EQ filter. And also the decay rate. Well, that won't make a lot of difference here. I'll explain what that does in a moment. And then tap and freeze again just releases the reverb. Right, now another cool feature is the fact that you get 3 basic algorithms now as well. So modern, vintage, and plate. So very nice. I'll just leave it on modern just for a sec. Now your decay rate EQ, this is very cool. You can choose any point in the reverb, and you can choose how long a particular a particular point in that reverb will take to decay. So if we whack the top end up here, this frequency in that reverb is now going to decay faster. So if we take this end down, very cool, you see. This gives you loads of control over the reverb over the course of all its frequencies. So if we whack this right up, and look at this. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take this down to, I'm going to tap on this little button here and go to low shelf. So you can choose the point at which, sorry, I'm back on my post EQ here. You can choose the point in the reverb where you want a boost or cut the decay. And you can choose different types. Obviously, if we go to notch, you'll have incredible control. See, we've now attenuated or cut all that frequency there with that notch filter. But we can make it wider by dragging down. And of course, at any time, we can then check out the different algorithms. So modern again, vintage, and plate. All have a different flavor. Okay, I'm going to just reset my basic patch and show you. So you basically, I've shown you all the controls. Let's do this. This is one of the brilliant things, right? You can use impulse response reverbs inside. If you've got impulse response files, you and many of you have, and if you haven't, there's tons of free ones on the internet, absolutely tons. But FabFilter Pro-R 2 does this slightly differently. So look, let's go to our preset browser, tap on this, and go import IR, so import impulse response, and then just go to somewhere on your iPad. I've got a slinky one here, right? I'm going to go to downloads where I've got some EMT impulse responses, Hoffman Lime Kiln, some other bits, speakers and telephones. Let's look at this EMT. So I'm going to open the folder, and there's different impulse responses here. Okay, so let's see. I'm going to choose this one here. Now, these are from the EMT 244 reverb. I'm going to tap on that. Do you see what happens? It looks at the impulse response and then tries to recreate that impulse response, but without actually using the file. So you don't end up with huge reverbs. It's looking at the impulse response and copying it. And there it is. The cool thing here is if we look at another one, I could save this now, for example, as I'll just save this as, what will I save it in? Ambience. I'll save it as EMT1, and I'll just hit save, and that'll be saved in my ambiences folder. See, I've got small. We can then just, if I go to fat ambience now, snare ambience, clap, and then EMT1. The cool thing here is that you can now just customize the reverb, because it's not using the actual impulse response. It's copied it as best it can, obviously. It's copied as best it can, so it can make a representation of what it thinks is the impulse response. Which means that you can then just reprogram the whole thing. I think that's so clever. Let's try another one. So import impulse response, I will go back down to my downloads and look at, say, this Hoffman lime kiln, and I'll look at examples, and there's one we can use. If it's not highlighted, you can't use it. It'll be in a different kind of format. So if we tap on this, immediately what happens, you'll see very quickly, it'll read the file, and then it'll generate a reverb setting for this impulse response, but not using the WAV file. It's not taking up space. Watch. And there's the impulse response. Now, it may not end up being absolutely identical, but I'm telling you, it's close. And then one I won't bother saving that one I imported earlier. Let me just search for it. I called Slinky. There it is. I'm stuck in ambiances. And which was an impulse response from a Slinky. So now I think one of the things that I didn't show you auto gate yet, did I? Let's look at, say, Concert Hall Vienna. Here we go. And let's increase this. Very nice. Let's increase the mix. Auto gate. If I turn auto gate on, listen, it's going to gate the sound depending on how you have it set. So this is a free running in milliseconds version. So 1 second. And then it'll kill it off if I effectively hold this for longer. There you go. If we take this all the way down to really fast. But like everything else, for example, like the pre-delay, let's take this back up. You can tap on the little padlock icon here, and you can choose the actual resolution of the host BPM that you would like the auto gate to work at. Now, this is amazing on anything that has rhythm, like drums and stuff. So let's do that. So I'm going to just close that for a moment and going to switch Hammerhead on. Now, the best way to show you this is with a super straightforward drum pattern. So get this kind of drum pattern in your head. Okay, it's super basic stuff, right? I'm going to put my R2 in here, and you'll see I've got a preset that I've made called Spectral Drums. I'm going to take the mix down, and here's that. Yeah, pretty bland drum pattern. Now, I would suggest you seriously put some headphones on for this. Okay, so here's the settings I've got. You can copy them if you like. And this is what happens when we put the mix. It's just so cool. I'll turn the microphone down again. I was so chuffed with this patch, but let me put the mix up a little bit. And I'm going to start playing around with the pre-delay, okay? And now when we start to play around with all the different controls, you start to get a very cool vibe. Now you will also notice, let me just reset that. You'll notice as well that I've got auto gate switched on, and that is also running with this. So if I turn auto gate off now, it's not so good, right? So let's play with a few different auto gate resolutions. Of course, changing the algorithm makes a huge difference. So, look, if you're watching this video premiere, by the way, thank you very much for joining me. It's much appreciated. I hope you've enjoyed the video so far. I will be playing through lots and lots of presets now. Both some with the piano and also some more with the drums. We've got lots of cool stuff you can do, but that's basically the whole thing. It's really easy to use. There's nothing complicated, and it's really well laid out. So you could use ducking with this, but it's probably better if you don't with the auto gate. But yeah, it's just excellent stuff. Please remember to strike the like, subscribe if you're not subscribed. Please consider becoming a Patreon. And I will see you guys soon, yeah, later. But I'm not finished yet. I've got loads of these patches to play for you. So, yeah, top job, cool beans. Thank you for watching. I'll see you later. Ta-ra. Well, that's cool. Not a million miles from what I just did.
you.